Gaius starting in quite light breezes along with the rest of the fleet. Made good progress down through the Balearics. Slow in the early part of the Alboran Sea, but Gaius got out nicely just behind the top three. Kept a little bit closer to the African coast. That actually worked for them quite nicely, and they were very much in the mix early on. And then through the Canary Islands, very much doing their own thing, pacing the top three boats as well. Again doing their own thing, jibing early out to the east, and worked the east a little bit more downwind, coming through the northeasterly trades in good speed. Little problem there, but then through the equator and into the southeasterly trades. Nice, all the time pacing the vanguard boats without too many problems. A small issue with the mainsail at one point, but good all the way. Across the equator, slightly slower at the doldrums than the three leading boats, but into the southeasterly trades in good shape, holding their delta to the top three boats, moving up to third at 15 days when Hugo Boss, of course, dropped out. Advanced a little bit as the leaders came close to the St. Helena High, did their own thing there, just jibing closer. Lost out a little bit, then gained again, then seemed happier to go close to the centre of High. Then in the approach down to the Indian Ocean, they did quite well. Then lost out a little bit. Remember this bit, 21 days where they got into lighter conditions. That's really when Chemini Pujala and Neutrogena stretched away in this ridge of high pressure, just jibing away from it there at 23 days. And all this time Neutrogena and Chemini Pujala moving away as they crossed the Cape of Good Hope. Into lighter conditions that allowed Gaius to catch up as they passed the Cape of Good Hope. And again another catch up as the leaders go into that high pressure just in the South Indian Ocean. Gaius' course very much a story of consistency and remaining conservative a lot of the time, just not pushing the boat too much, but staying in touch all the way through the Indian Ocean, always at roughly the same delta behind. Lost a little bit there in the high pressure. A period there where Neutrogena and Chemini Pujala stretched away. Renault at that point were actually catching them and then caught them quite a lot, but still remaining consistent, pushing hard, working well down the Antarctic exclusion zone. There you see Neutrogena then going into Bluff. That allowed them to catch right up, and this is really where the race intensified. They got to within 6 miles of Neutrogena and almost passing. They ran parallel courses at this point. Neutrogena just proving a little bit quicker. They crossed jibes at one point, 55 days then. Again, Gaius just struggling into lighter airs, letting Neutrogena ahead. But they were quite close at Cape Horn, sailing roughly the same course until the Falklands, when Neutrogena went west and Gaius went east. And so Gaius going east of the Falkland Islands. A passage past the east of the Falkland Islands. Didn't seem to lose too much out for Gaius. Then into that high pressure ridge in the South Atlantic. Both got through roughly the same. And then Neutrogena stretched into the southeasterly trades. And at this stage it really was like the two were attached by elastic. Neutrogena extended a little bit coming towards the doldrums. Both got across reasonably easily. Neutrogena went a little bit further to the west. Now at this stage Neutrogena extend as they come into stronger northeasterly trades. Big catch up as they go to the east, and then Gaius drop low on the approach to the Canary Islands, and this is where Neutrogena really start to stretch out to over 350 miles as they come into the Mediterranean. A catch up in the last few days, but slow passage in the end into Barcelona. So today's fly past of the remainder of the Barcelona World Race fleet, still racing. Just first of all looking at Neutrogena, then just arriving in Barcelona, while Gaius Centros Auditivas down in off Cartagena, very slow in there, and a long period with very light breezes, just trying to find the daily thermals, and then at night The Mediterranean breeze is very slow. Out there in the Atlantic, in the northeasterly and easterly trades, one planet, one ocean, and We Are Water still locked together in this duel, which I think is going to go on into the Mediterranean. Breeze building very slightly for them. And then Renault Captur making steady rather than spectacular progress northwards, and Spirit of Hungary still fluctuating breezes south of the equator and in the doldrums, and then approaching Barcelona today. Gaius Centros Auditivos heading for third place. And the leaderboard today, this 1st of April, Gaius Centros Auditivos were 78 miles from the finish this morning at 7:30. One Planet, One Ocean and We Are Water still close together, only 120 miles, the same 120 miles separating them as has been the case for the last 2 or 3 days at least, both doing between 9 and 9.4 knots. We Are Water a little bit quicker. Renault Captur making 7.9 knots at a direction of 346, so nearly north. Indeed, just west of north this morning. Spirit of Hungary slowed to 4.8 knots and into the doldrums. So a slowdown for Spirit of Hungary, looking quite complicated for them, and they've made 248 miles in the last 24 hours, the biggest distance in the fleet.
So, few hours before Gaius get back here in Barcelona Harbour, Anna, Corbella and Gerard Marin has been sailing close to shore to benefit from the breeze and the pressure close to the shore. As we know, it can be very light and unstable conditions around Tarragona, and we see on the picture here on the animation that the wind is blowing from the northwest around 15 knots, so good speed at the moment, 10 knots max, but the wind is expected to drop and turn southeast. And we're expecting to see them later today in the afternoon. One Planet, One Ocean and Farmaton and We Are Water still sailing towards the north-northeast with the wind blowing from 50 knots from the northeast, so sailing upwind 800 miles to Gibraltar. And the condition on the southeast of Azores high pressure, we see that the wind should be turning a bit left, so more northwest direction, so better conditions for them as they're sailing towards Gibraltar. Behind them, Renault Captur, Jörg Richards and Sebastian Odigan, they are sailing upwind with the wind blowing from the northeast as well, 15 knots. And we're expecting better conditions, better angle, as in the day the wind should turn more east, so they should have a better VMG towards Gibraltar. And Spirit of Hungary has been the fastest over the last 24 hours, and we're expecting them to cross the doldrums. They should cross this doldrums bend width here. The bend is a bit smaller and more narrow than the former competitors, but as soon as they will cross this thing, they should be sailing upwind. So we're expecting a bit less pressure, so slower speed for them.